Hi, I'm Anne. I've been in recruitment over 15 years, in graduate recruitment the last 5 years, recruiting for graduate engineers mainly. I first heard about Studium a couple of years ago when I needed to recruit a number of graduate engineers. Really wanted to find the right person rather than the person with the best academic results, and wasn't quite sure how to achieve that in a short period of time. I was working with someone who was heavily involved with Studium, so he told me about what the tool and the technology allows us to do. So I started to use Studium and particularly used it to identify interests and personalities of students rather than looking at academic results, which is what we'd usually do when we screen traditional applications. Using Studium really affected our recruitment process in a number of ways. Firstly, we weren't faced with the usual 2,000 applications that had to be screened, and it's really then an educated guess because we judge someone based on a, well, not piece of paper, but on a digital piece of paper. It allowed us to get to know an applicant from a different angle, understanding their interests, understanding what they are like, and really seeing the full picture. And that made a huge impact on the time it took, but also in the success, i.e. if we look at, does someone accept an offer, does someone stay in the job, and then I'd like to think that we are in a better position to find the right cultural fit through using Studium for our recruitment process. Thinking about the difference in time the recruitment process takes, traditionally we would post an ad, we will screen CVs either manually or using other technology, and that is very, very time consuming. So you could say to screen traditionally 2,000 CVs takes 2 to 3 weeks. Using Studium allows us to reduce it from the get-go because we don't have to post an ad. We can hand pick and select our best 30 or 40 that we then hone in on, and that makes a huge difference. The overall experience of using Studium from a recruiter's point of view was quite life-changing, to be honest. It really allowed us to look at the recruitment process from a different angle, and that means looking at the person rather than looking at the process. And that's what we need. We're in the end employing people, not resumes. The quality of candidates that we get through Studium is probably the same as we would get through another process. The difference though is, on the one hand, the time it takes to find them, and the fact that we're able to identify other aspects, personality traits, for example, communication skills, ability to build relationships, which is often really important because yes, a great academic result is fantastic and for a lot of roles plays a part of the selection criteria. However, in a recent case, we had to recruit an individual that had really, really strong communication skills and was able to build relationships with a variety of stakeholders. In a traditional process, we would only identify that towards the very end. However, through using Studium, we can make this a key criteria early on and identify candidates based on that. Studium has a significant impact on the subsequent recruitment process, particularly when I think about interviewing. In a traditional process, we would use the interview to get to know the applicant because all we know is a one-dimensional resume or profile. Through Studium, we already have background information. We know what someone is interested in. We have some evidence for particular skills they have. So we can really use the interview to get to know that person better and make much better use of the time we have with the candidate, which then allows us to make a faster and better decision. I understand that some companies might look at employing graduates as hard work. But I guess it's only as hard work as you make it to be. It all depends on recruiting the right person in the first place and understanding what role you want them to go into. And yes, the first 6 months might be a learning curve, particularly if you employ someone with little to no work experience. But from there on, it pays back tenfold. And for me, well, I always say, why wouldn't you employ graduates? Because it's the best thing you can do, and everyone who's looking back at their own career, at some point you were the fresh grad who was given an opportunity. So It's just awesome, and just making sure that you recruit the right person when you start off. From a recruiter's perspective, another advantage of using Studium is quite clearly that it gives me the opportunity to promote what we do to a student early on. I think it goes beyond the traditional online ad or an on-campus campaign, but through the platform we can engage and we can show them what working for us is like, what our culture is like, and making sure we're on their radar when they come to a situation where they're looking for work. For employers, I'd highly recommend using Studium and seriously look at recruiting graduates for your business.